Welcome back. Is Death Stranding hard? The short and simple answer is no. You're not going to go around bragging in the same manner as you would when you beat a game such as Dark Souls. Dark Souls will go a little something like this. Yo guys, I just beat Dark Souls. Congrats man, proud of you, I actually beat the game too, it was pretty hard. How many tries did Lothric and Lorien take you? Actually, I beat that one pretty fast, it only took me 3 tries. 3 tries? Get good, kid. I'll be honest with you guys, some bosses in Dark Souls probably took me over 100 attempts. Get good, kid. Despite my frustrations, I did end up beating Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne. If you guys look at the trophy system in Bloodborne, for example, the first boss trophy would show you that 75% of the people who own the game acquired that trophy. Then you get to like the 5th boss, and it's like 50% of the people were able to get that trophy. Then you get to like the final 3 bosses, and it can get as low as 8% of people who own the game were able to acquire that trophy for killing the boss. At least it was like that when I was playing Bloodborne. I'm sure those percentages have risen since then. But it's still pretty crazy. When you have only 8 to 20% of people who play the game that are able to kill the final boss, if you kill the final boss, you should feel really good. It's actually a real accomplishment. Now, Death Stranding is kind of weird because I actually feel a similar sense of accomplishment when I play this game in complete orders, but it's not nearly as hard as a game like Dark Souls. It's hard to explain, but Hideo Kojima made the game so immersive that you literally feel like you are helping the world when you complete orders. A rare feeling that not many games can accomplish, especially when a game is not necessarily hard like Death Stranding and you won't get that sense of achievement from a skill perspective. I feel like with Death Stranding, if you were able to latch onto this game and get hooked early on, the majority of people will complete the game, even if you suck at games in general. The main theme of the game is traversing the land. The actual art of doing so is not overly difficult, especially the first half of the game where the land is generally easier to pass through than the later missions. Later in the game, you can definitely catch yourself in some tricky situations, but typically, if you foul, you can usually start back up close to where you fouled at. When you die in this game, many times you enter the 3rd dimension, and after a few seconds of swimming around to find your dead body, you are revived and wake up usually very close to where you died. This alone makes the game much easier. With that said, it not being too difficult does not in any way make it not good, because traversing the land is one of the most amazing experiences I have ever felt in a game to date. I actually think that it not being extremely difficult might actually help and make this game better, for it allows you to immerse yourself more as opposed to being frustrated and constantly angry like you might feel in Dark Souls. Dark Souls, for example, if you die, you lose shit, you have to respawn back at the last bonfire, and all the extremely hard adds respawn as well, and well, you're pissed. Not like that in Death Stranding. And I'm not actually bashing Dark Souls either, because the Souls games are in my all-time favorite collection as well, and the difficulty of those games is a huge part as to why I love them. Death Stranding is just completely different. Traversing the train, as long as you take your time, and you learn how to pack accordingly for a mission, you should be able to get to your destination. Over time, you will get accustomed to the map and equipment, and if you are scared to take a certain route, there is usually a longer, safer route that you can travel if you so choose. The combat is not that hard in Death Stranding, but it does get more difficult as the game goes on, and the enemies start to have more lethal weapons and vehicles. When in combat, you will find a weapon that you enjoy, and it doesn't take vast amounts of skill to knock out the enemies, but it's still extremely fun. Even when it looks like you're getting overwhelmed, when you go into your equipment menu, the game enters a slow-mo type state, allowing you to think about what to do and what you might need. Basically, the combat in Death Stranding, when dealing with human enemies or BTs, is intense, but not overly difficult. With that said, I don't typically find myself enjoying games that actually aren't difficult. Yet I find myself calling Death Stranding Game of the Year. Somehow, Hideo Kojima was really able to suck you into the journey of the game, to make you enjoy the peaceful moments, to make you feel like you are in New Zealand. I've never had a game suck me in like this game does. And this is coming from a guy who is obsessed with From Software games because of my love for intense, extremely difficult combat. Really, the only aspects of the game that are difficult is the interface and menu screens. Understanding the menu screens, whether you are in your cargo tab or your orders tab or on the map itself, is pretty confusing. And it will probably remain confusing for a long amount of time for most people. You will catch on eventually though, and start to learn, and eventually hit a point of where everything makes sense. But initially, there's a lot to take in. I really like that about this game. The gameplay is not too difficult, but the items and menu screens, etc. are complex. It just shows you how much went into creating the game, and those of you who take the time to learn will be rewarded with vast amounts of feelings of accomplishment. Understanding the story is also a tad difficult, but holy shit, I've never been so confused but excited to be confused like I am in this game. And just like the menu screens, if you stick it out, it becomes an insanely complex story that you finally understand. Kinda. Making you feel like you just read a book. Don't know about you guys, but whenever I finish a book, I feel damn good. But guys, overall the game is not that difficult, even if you up the difficulty settings, because when you up the difficulty settings, the enemies and BTs, things start to hit you harder, but traversing the land still kind of remains the same, and that's really the concept of the game. So as long as you are willing to learn the systems and follow the story, you should have no problem beating this game. It is a journey worth taking, whether you enjoy hard games, easy games, or whatever. So if you worry about gameplay being too difficult, forget that worry. Just be prepared to take the time to understand how things work in this game. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It is a huge help to my videos and my channel. I release videos almost on the daily, comedy videos, guides, reviews, etc. I would love you guys to join the Wolfpack and help me get this channel growing. I'll put a link to one of my recent comedy videos, Death Stranding real life gameplay, directly below. Make sure to check that out, and I'll see you guys on the next one.